If you play Animal Jam Classic, you might know of a certain type of jammer. The plushie collector, people who spend hours either trying to win a specific plush or trying to find someone that's trading one. From plushie collectors to humble non-member plushie shops, and even outdated gem farming methods, the claw and its plushies play a small role in Animal Jam Classic's culture. But how much do we really know about the claw? There's not a lot of documentation on the probabilities even over a decade later. I wanted to run my own little test. What can I win if I played the claw 10,000 times? Today, we are going to find out. This test only covers any plushies won from the rare claw item, and some minor details about additional claw types. Also, please take this with a grain of salt. Results may vary depending on the person, and we don't really have any official statistics to compare. This is all just a glorified science experiment on a virtual animal game. But with that out of the way, let's start our experiment. I'm going to start with a fresh account. My name, I love the claw. To start, we're gonna need 50,000 gems. And it's honestly not a hard number to reach as you might think. On a fresh account, you could easily get half that amount from the tutorial, referrals, and promo codes. The rest I get from grinding a mix of arcade games and adventures. Cha-ching, time to gamble. For the longest time, you only had to press your spacebar down to operate a majority of the claw. This was used by a good chunk of the Animal Jam population to farm gems. But earlier this year, the claw got a bit of an overhaul. Really, they only added one little hurdle. So honestly, what a lot of people don't know, the claw wasn't changed that much. Usually you would only need the spacebar to like work everything on the claw, the button, the claw, the UI. Spacebar would handle all of that, besides like the arrows, but that's about it. So as I'm pressing the spacebar, you'll notice that the claw no longer drops. So now you have to like manually press this button here. The spacebar works on everything else. Like you could still hold the spacebar to like get rid of the UI. And all you have to do now is one mouse click. And now we repeat this 10,000 times. Look, I'm not gonna bore you with hours of footage of me doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Before I get into the results, I just want to say I had to use 3 accounts to even hold all of these plushies, but also it just looked really sketchy. For example, there's no sketchy business happening here whatsoever. Please avert your eyes. So let's get to the results. Out of 10,000 plays, I lost 6,738 times. That's a little over 2/3 of my total plays, but I won the rest, 3,262 times. So we could say roughly that your chances of winning a plush on the claw is a little less than 1 out of 3 plays. But out of those 3,262 plushies that I won, what did I win exactly? There are a couple ways I could categorize my findings, and I did just that. To keep things simple to start, we could separate our plushies into 3 groups: the Jambassadors, regular plushies, and then for this video, I'm gonna be calling these ones special plushies. You can see what makes them so special, often sporting either a special little accessory or a trait that separates them from the rest of the plushies. Out of the plushies I won, regular plushies took up 79% of plushies, or 26% of my total tries. Jambassadors took up 13% of plushies, or 4% of my total claw plays. And then the special plushies were the leftover 8% of plushies and 3% of my total plays. If you count Jambassadors, there are 27 different animals you can win on the rare claw. On average, I won 120 plushies per animal. Here's a chart showing the total per animal from highest to lowest, with the most common animal being pandas, and the least common, surprisingly, being Arctic wolves, with a difference of 88 plushies between the two. This chart won't include the Jambassador plushies since they don't really have their own series of colors. So, do the 10 colors all have an equal chance of being won? Surprisingly, yes. If you consult the chart, there's almost an equal chance of winning each color. The reason it may not be perfectly split is the existence of the special plushies. Orange only has 3 special plushies on the claw, so there's no shock that it ends up being the most common color. On the flip side, blue has the most special variants, there being 9 of them on the claw, and it ends up being the least common color. And while you have a mostly equal chance at winning each color if you look at the big picture, some colors favor certain animals, and this does depend on what kind of special plushies that animal has. But before we go any further, I need to give some backstory on a particular plush series in this claw, the Phantom plushie. If you're hunting for a specific plush with no luck, luck, you can easily up your chances by playing on one of these animal-specific claws. However, you don't get that luxury with Phantom plushies. These member-only plushies can only be won on the rare claw and share their drop rates with 234 other plushies. So winning these guys is a lot harder and makes them a little more special. While doing research, Phantom plushies were the only ones to have a confirmed probability with a 1% chance of winning. And does that hold up? Yeah, as Phantom plushies made up just a little over 1% of my total plays. But is there something else that makes these guys so special? I mean, these plushies are only worth a few rare item Mondays. And let me tell you, the wiki lies, but one plush in particular, the black spiked Phantom. If you think winning the last plush to complete your set of 10 animals was hard, take that suffering and times it by 10 million. And while the Worth wiki says the black spiked Phantom is only worth a few rare item Mondays, if you look in the comments of this wiki page, you'll see that this Phantom goes for 30 to 50 diamonds, and it sells quickly. It's quite the markup from the rest of the Phantom plushies, and I see why. When I first started plushie hunting, it took me weeks to win just one of these guys. If you could expect, I didn't end up winning any of the— Wait, I won 2 of these guys? Yippee! Since this plush has an extremely low chance of being won and can't be won on any other claw machine, I elected these guys to be the grand prize on the claw machines. If you win this on the rare claw, you are a certified claw pro. You might be asking yourself, what plushie was won the most, and which were won the least? Let's start with the top 5 most common basic plushies. In 5th place with 25 plushies, the white rhino and the black koala. In a 4-way tie for 4th place, the yellow tiger, green monkey, green wolf, and white elephant with 26 plushies each. In 3rd is the pink crocodile with 28 plushies. In 2nd, it's a tie between the yellow monkey and the black panda with 31 plushies. And finally, with a total of 34 plushies is the brown tiger. Congratulations. How about the top 5 special plushies? In 5th place with 6 plushies, we have the white horse, blue giraffe, and red elephant. In 4th place with 7, the black eagle, brown raccoon, and green deer. In 3rd place with 8, the brown snow leopard, pink phantom, green bunny, and pink horse. In 2nd with 10 plushies, the purple koala, purple rhino, and yellow panda. And the most common special plushie with 11 each, the yellow crocodile, purple elephant, and black wolf. And for fun, let's look at the least common plushies, starting with the least common basics. In 5th place with 9, yellow and pink arctic wolves, red deer, green, purple, and white eagles, red and orange lions, blue seal, pink and red snow leopard, and orange tiger. In 4th place with 8, we have the white cheetah, black deer, purple fox, and red penguin. 3rd with 7 is the black penguin and yellow raccoon. 2nd with 6 is the pink deer. And in 1st place with 5 plushies each, the white kangaroo and the purple raccoon. Okay, honestly, this is just a good chunk of all the special plushies, and it would take me too long to reading out all of their names. So 5th place, each of these were won 4 times. 4th place, each of these were won 3 times. 3rd place, each of these were won twice. 2nd place, these were won once. And 1st place, I didn't even win any of these, not even once. I'll show on screen each individual results for each animal, but this would just take me way too long to read out. So circling back to the least won specials, if you look at this and think,
well, clearly you won less of these guys than your spiked phantom. Why don't you consider one of these ones the grand prize?
And to that I say, it's my chart, it's my rules. But also, there's a way you could boost your odds for all of these plushies. Animal Jam Classic made these special claw machines that only offer a prize pool of the advertised animals. So you could go from a 1 in 244 chance of winning a specific plush to a 1 in 7 to 11 chance depending on which claw you choose. A mini pseudo experiment to go alongside this bigger one, I wanted to test how long it would take to win all colors on one of these claws. So I did this on 5 different claws and recorded how long each collection took. It took me 10 minutes and 78 attempts to get all the goats, 15 minutes and 120 attempts to get all the lemurs, 22 minutes and 153 attempts to get all the bunnies, 35 minutes and 258 attempts to get all the Clydesdale horses, and 45 minutes and 358 attempts to get the koalas. This averages out to being 25.4 minutes to get all the plushies from a series. If you're unlucky, it will seep into the 40 to 50 minute range, but even off camera, none of my personal plushie hunting took longer than an hour per series, except for the spiked phantom, but that's a different beast. Also, side tangent, you win so many Jambassadors on individual claws. Out of 153 attempts on the bunny claw, 48 were plushies. Do you want to know how many were Jambassador plushies? 30 out of 48 plushies. This is the greed they speak of in the Bible. I would consider myself quite the expert at these claw machines that are entirely luck-based, but I can still give some tips to those who want to start plushie collecting. First off, you don't need to own the claws to do plushie collecting. There's the claw machines all around Jamaa, but if you want to use specific claws, there's plenty of people who offer up their dens as arcades where you can freely play these machines. The only downside is your performance. Loading up this many claw machines, which are constantly moving, will make your game run even slower and affect how often you can play your claw machine. So ideally you would have an empty den to get the most efficient results, but it's not required. Another common tactic to enhance your performance ever so slightly is to resize your window. A smaller window means there's less that needs to render, thus making your hunting even faster. If you're just starting out with your collection, it's best to start off with the rare claw since it has a larger variety in what it drops. Once you have a decent collection and your chances of winning a new plush start to plateau, move on to the individual claws. Also, don't forget that the rare claw only accounts for 244 out of 452 total claw plushies. So if you want a complete claw plushie set, don't forget about these guys. Too often I see shops trying to mark up these special plushies. As shown earlier, you could easily win these guys in an afternoon, and you don't need to spend 10 diamonds on a plush. You guys are getting scammed. Also, you're definitely gonna have a few duplicate special plushies. You can try trading these away. Things I usually get for them are clothing betas, rare item Mondays. Someone once offered me a short spiked wristband, but that was just luck. Then you could use that stuff to trade for even more plushies. This might take longer, but if you feel guilty about recycling your special plushies, trust me, I've been there. I have hundreds of duplicates, so if you see an I love the claw around Jamaa, please take any of these plushies off my hands. I don't need them anymore. And that's the end of my research. It's been a few years since I've done a video that didn't have some kind of art or craft, but I hope you still enjoyed it regardless. And I think plushie collecting is something a good chunk of the player base can enjoy. And now I retreat to my lair and wonder, what do I do with all of these phantom plushies?